Barlow Creations. If you're new to my channel and you're stopping by for the first time, thank you for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. Stick around a while by clicking that red button for more crafting on a budget, more everything on a budget videos to come. And if you click it again when the bell appears, YouTube should notify you every time I upload a new video, depending on the option that you choose in the drop-down menu of the bell. If you're interested in following me on social media, you can find those links, you guessed it, in the description box below. So what do I have going on for you for today? Oh my word. Today I am bringing to you such a cute farmhouse Easter DIY using these Easter wall decor plaques that you can get from the Dollar Tree, the adorable Easter pink or blue truck, red truck, but in pink or blue, and some of these fun wooden egg ornaments that I found at Walmart. I was a bit disappointed that the Dollar Tree didn't have the egg ornaments because they've had those little wooden DIY ornaments for Christmas and Valentine's Day, and I thought for sure that they were gonna have egg ones for Easter, but they never came out with them. And so when I saw this 4-pack at Walmart for 97 cents, I snatched up a few packs because I had a couple DIYs that I was really excited to bring to you using them. Today I am bringing to you 2 DIYs. I'm bringing to you one big one and I'm bringing to you a bonus DIY using those egg ornaments. That second DIY is very similar to one that I just recently did, but I really wanted to do one for Easter, and so I figured I'd attach it to this and make it a bonus DIY that'll be quick and easy. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into it and let's get to this adorable farmhouse Easter DIY that you are just gonna love. Alrighty, so starting off with today's DIY, I'll be using the blue Easter truck. If you have a pink one, you can use that. If you have a truck from Christmas or Valentine's Day, those will work too. Dive into your stash because using my ruler and a straight edge razor, I'm gonna line it up with the edge of the truck and I'm gonna cut off the excess portion, I guess, of this plaque where the carrots and the bunny are, just leaving me with the truck itself. And so I'm going to do that just by scoring it a few times, using the ruler as a guide. And really this press board or bead board is really easy to cut through just by scoring it with a razor. Once you do the long side, you're going to want to do this top side where the back window is. And then you'll see that it easily just kind of breaks off. If you have any extra beadboard left over, just go ahead and score it and it'll come right off. If you need to sand it to smooth out the edges, go ahead and do that as well. To cover this truck up, I'm going to be using scrapbooking paper. So to do that, I'm going to place a fair amount of Mod Podge over the top of this truck, completely covering it. You can go right over the glitter. It's no big deal. There's really no need to worry about sanding it down because it's not going to show. To cover this truck, you should only need one 12 by 12 sheet of scrapbooking paper, and if you place the truck face down on the back side, the top part of the paper, when you flip it over, you'll see that you have plenty of paper left over. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut that off because you can see that there's not very much left of the truck that needs to be covered. And so I'm just gonna line up the pattern as best I can to cover that section up. I popped this in the oven at 135 degrees, which is the lowest temperature my oven will go to kind of speed up the drying process of the paper and the Mod Podge. Once it's dry, I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and just cut off that excess scrapbooking paper. Using this plaque as a guide, pretty easy to do. I think it's a lot easier to use an X-Acto knife or a razor than it is to use the scissors, because using scissors, you really just can't get a close enough, clean enough cut. I should probably say that the paper that I'm using today is one that I found at Hobby Lobby that I had in my stash. Hobby Lobby has an amazing assortment of open stock scrapbooking paper. 4 for $1, you can't beat it. From time to time, I just like to go browse through their scrapbooking section to see if they have any new prints out, because at 4 for $1, you can't beat it, and I like to pick them up and just keep them in my stash. Now it's time to just go ahead and fill this truck in with some of the details that are needed to make it look like a truck again. And so to do that, I'm going to start off with the tires using a black acrylic paint. Anyone will do. I'm using Waverly's ink color. It's a matte finish paint, and I'm gonna go ahead and just draw in the tires on the back and the front of this truck the best I can. I am no artist when it comes to paint and a paintbrush when it comes to putting in detailing. My tires are probably gonna look like eggs, but that's okay. As I'm painting on the details, I am referencing a picture that I actually took with my phone of the truck before I covered it, just so I can see what was previously there and just have something to reference back to so I know what to put where and how to put it. And so this looks like maybe it would be the metal step bar to the bottom of the truck. And so again, just using the black, I'm gonna kind of fill this in the best that I can. For the door here, there wasn't previously a door painted in, but I really kind of wanted to do that just to kind of separate the black buffalo check from the door. And so again, just kind of using my imagination, I'm gonna draw in a door the best that I can and fill it in with the black paint. Using some of Apple Barrel's Cameo Pink, I thought that this would be the perfect color to add some accent to this truck. And so I'm gonna add the door handle here, and I think it would be cute for the fenders as well. I wanted to add a bit more detailing to the door because I feel like it's missing something, so I'm going to go back in with the Cameo Pink and just kind of add some shadow lines. Now again, I'm not doing this perfect. My lines are thick, they're uneven. I'm just going to use the door itself as a guide to make these lines. If your lines come out thicker in some areas than others, don't worry about it. Let it dry, then go back with the black paint and just kind of thin them out a bit. You can see that my lines are thick and uneven, and I'm not super happy with them, but in the end, I did go back with my black paint and thin them out, and it came out looking amazing. These tires are definitely needing some hubcaps, so I'm gonna go in with some white Waverly paint and just do a simple circle right in the center. And for what I guess would be the lug nuts, I'm gonna go in with my embossing tool that I got from the Dollar Tree and just put 4 dots right in the center of the hubcap. I'm gonna add just a couple more details just because it doesn't look finished, and so I feel like if I outline the, I guess what would be the bed of the truck, just kind of add an edge to it here and maybe the front where the grill would be, I think I'm good, and I'm gonna call it a day with this truck. Would you look at how stinking cute that turned out? It was really easy to do. It took me maybe an hour. Now taking these wooden eggs that I got from Walmart, like I said, this 4-pack was 97 cents, so I picked up I think 4 or 5 packs. If you can't find these wood eggs, they've got these foam ones that come in a 10-pack for $1, which is a great buy as well. And if you can't find these, you can make your own by just kind of Googling a template. I also picked up another stack of the Emma and Mila fat quarters because I am obsessed with these and I love them, and they had just restocked them, so I figured I better grab another stack before spring is over. And since this fabric seems to be the theme of my Easter decor this year, that's what I'm going to use to cover these wood eggs. If you've been with me a while, you know that this is one of my favorite methods for covering these wood plaques, is using fabric or scrapbooking paper. And you do that just by simply adding a good amount of Mod Podge to the front of these eggs, then placing them face down onto the wrong side of the fabric. Then you're going to want to go back over the fabric with a second coat of Mod Podge just to really seal it onto these wood plaques and adhere it on well. If you want to speed up the drying process of the Mod Podge because it is winter time, I pop mine in the oven at the lowest temperature that my oven will go, which is 135 degrees, for about 15 or 20 minutes on a cookie sheet, and they're good and dry and ready to move on to cut off that excess fabric using a straight edge razor. Now, it's a lot easier to cut off the excess fabric once the Mod Podge has been on and it dries, because it hardens that fabric, and so it kind of is like cutting paper. It doesn't fray, it just cuts real nicely. And so I'm gonna do that to all 20 of these eggs. And you know me, I can't leave the eggs just the way they are. I'm gonna take my brown ink pad. This is one that I got from Hobby Lobby just recently. I think I really liked the light brown that it was. It's like a hot cocoa brown, I think the color of it is. And I'm gonna outline the edges of all of my eggs just to kind of give it a bit of dimension. Moving on to the Easter wall decor plaques, I'll be using 2 of these plaques for this DIY. I'm gonna remove the embellishments on the front side of these plaques. Although I won't be using the front of these plaques, I'll be using the back side of these plaques because it's a lot easier to use the back side than trying to cover up the design on this side. I'm gonna attach these 2 plaques together because I want a wider plaque. And to do that, I'm gonna use some of Aleene's glue and these jumbo popsicle sticks. And by placing a good amount of glue on the popsicle stick, if you place the popsicle stick right on the seam where the 2 plaques meet, you will easily be able to attach them. And so to attach these 2 plaques, you're gonna need 3 sticks. This size stick is one that you can get at Dollar Tree. I am fresh out of the bigger ones that Walmart has, but these are gonna work just fine. If you wanted to, you could also add some blue painter's tape to really hold the plaques together so the seam is good and tight. I'm gonna let this dry for just a couple of hours. Now taking some of my favorite spackling. This is a method that I am really using a lot because it's easy to work with. I'm gonna fill in the holes of the plaque because I don't want them to be visible. And I figured I'd run my finger right along the seam just to cover up that seam a bit more too. This spackling dries pretty quickly, and before it dries, if you take just a wet sponge and kind of wipe over it, it smooths it out nicely. Or you can wait until it's dry and you can take a real lightweight sandpaper and sand over it, and it's gonna take you just a minute or 2 to sand off the excess spackling after it dries. To cover this plaque, I will be using some of Waverly's chalk paint in the color of, you guessed it, cashew. I'm gonna give this a good couple coats of this paint. I gave this plaque 2 coats of the cashew, but before the second coat dries, I'm gonna go in with some of Waverly's chalk paint in the color of hazelnut. And I'm just gonna kind of dry brush stroke this through that wet second coat of cashew, if that makes any sense, giving it this real faded, clouded look. And I'm gonna do this over the entirety of this plaque. Now, if it doesn't come out completely cloudy and soft looking, don't worry, because once it dries, we're gonna take a very light sandpaper and kind of go over it, which is gonna soften up those strokes even more. To darken up the edges on this piece, I will be using some of Tim Holtz Distress Oxide. It's the same thing as an ink in the color of Ground Espresso. This is not a color that I had in my stash, and a couple weeks ago when I saw it, I thought, oh my, a nice dark brown ink. I love it. I gotta try this, and I gotta tell you, it is my new favorite brown distress ink to use because of how rich the brown is. Now my favorite part, all that's left to do is put this together. So I placed all my pieces on the plaque just to see and kind of position them where I wanted them to go, so I had a good idea. Then using some hot glue, I'm just gonna hot glue it all down into place. On the top of my plaque, I wanted to say Farm Fresh Eggs, and so to do that, I will be using some of Dollar Tree's poster board stickers. These are great. I had a bunch in my stash. You can see that these are ones that I've used, so I'm just kind of going through some of the sheets that I had, looking for the letters that I need. One of my favorite hacks is, even though these letters are black and it may not go with the DIY that you're doing, you can very easily paint these by placing them on one of Dollar Tree's cutting mats. These come in a 2-pack in the kitchen area. Just place your stickers on the cutting mat, then choose whatever color it is that you want them to be. The color that I'm using to paint my letters is Waverly's chalk paint in the color of Elephant. What's great about these poster stickers is that they're repositionable, and so I just very lightly place them on the plaque. I'm not gonna press them all the way down. I just wanna kind of get an idea of where I want the letters to be and get them somewhat in their position. And you can see here that if you have any letters that have any paint that is attached to the side, if you just take a real light sandpaper and kind of brush along it, it'll come right off without peeling off any of the paint. And so it kind of is a cool little trick. I am going to seal these, but I'll show you what I use to seal these letters later so the paint doesn't come off. Once I've got my letters somewhat in place as to where I want them, I'm going to use one of these clear rulers that I got from the Dollar Tree. These are amazing. And I'm just going to measure down from the top of the plaque just to make sure that all the letters are good and even. I'm going to seal my letters so the paint doesn't scratch or chip off, and to do that I'm going to use my new favorite sealant. This is Waverly's Varnish in a matte finish, very inexpensive, budget friendly, and easy to use, and so that's what I'm going to use and just go over the top of the letters. Here on the back side you can see that I took the bottom half of the truck where it said Happy Easter. I broke them in half and I used those to actually reinforce the two plaques to keep them together. I'm not sure why I didn't film that, but you can see that I did it, so you can very easily do that too on top of the popsicle sticks. To cover this design, I'm going to use some scrapbooking paper because it's what I have on hand. If you have one of Dollar Tree's craft roll papers, that is a great way to cover the back of these just to give them a real good finished look. But again, scrapbooking paper is another great alternative, and since I have so much of it, why not use it? And because I do want to hang this piece, I'm going to use my go-to method, which is twine that I tie in a knot at the bottom and just put a generous amount of hot glue on the back, adhering it onto the plaque. And of course, my new favorite thing to do is to stamp my projects with this handmade with love stamp. Sign and date it. Now for the bonus DIY using the remaining eggs that I covered with the Emma and Mila fabric. You can see here that I am making an egg wreath, which is very similar to the heart wreath that I did at Valentine's Day using the heartwood ornaments from the Dollar Tree. And so when I saw these eggs, I knew that that was definitely what I wanted to do because, like I said, I was hoping the Dollar Tree would have these and they never did. But thank you, Walmart, for having these because I really wanted one of these wreaths. They're easy to do, super cute, and since I had a theme for my Easter decor this year, which was using this fabric, I definitely wanted to incorporate this into my Easter decor as well. And so I think that this is a very Easter looking and feeling piece, even though it has a very farmhouse chic feel to it as well. Once I got the eggs kind of laid out and positioned the way I wanted them to be, I went ahead and just kind of hot glued them where the eggs overlapped. Once I did that, I decided to flip it over and just reinforce them on the back side where the eggs meet again, just to make it a more sturdy piece so I didn't have to worry about the eggs coming apart. And I figured this was the perfect DIY to finish off with one of my twine bows, and I want to say that this is about 10 strands thick. And of course I'm going to be hanging this up, and since I don't have any sawtooth hangers on hand, I'm going to use my twine knot again. Now I know today's DIY isn't quick and easy, but sometimes I like to just sit down on a Saturday with my iPad, binge watch. I think this weekend I was watching Grey's Anatomy. I started it from season 1 and just DIY. With this DIY, I really didn't know where I was going. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how it was gonna come together, and I really loved the way it came out. It was a fun DIY to put together, and I think that it's safe to say that I've got a theme going this Easter using that Emma and Mila fabric that I found at Walmart. I am loving it. And because I've never really had any farmhouse Easter decor pieces that I've made on my own, they've always just been very traditional pieces. I really wanted to switch up my decor. I wanted to incorporate some of the farmhouse Easter decor pieces that I was making, and I wanted to make pieces that kind of linked together that I could keep for years to come, and I think that I'm doing that using this fabric. I hope you all enjoyed today's Farmhouse Easter DIYs. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and let's get this video to 5,000 likes, because like I always say, each and every one of your thumbs up and those comments that you do leave down below, they really do help my channel to grow, and it helps YouTube to notice me just a bit more. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy crafting on a budget, and bye for now, everybody.